We made a game in 48 hours for the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam 2021, and the theme for this year was
joined together. I want to see games where at least two elements are connected together in some way. What does it mean for them to be joined? What does it mean for that connection to break?
As in the start of any game jam, we started with figuring out an idea, what we were going to make. The idea we came up with was an endless runner with two characters that can be controlled to be together or apart. When they are together, they should be faster, and when apart, they should be slower. When they are together, they can turn left or right, but when they are apart, they are stuck where they are. And as with a lot of endless runner, something should be chasing you. Time to start working on the game. While my artist started working on the art, I started with the code. We use a game framework called libggx for our game jams, so I opened the starting project I had prepared for the jam. I began with implementing the controls, and quite quickly the splitting mechanic was working quite smoothly. Then I started implementing the turning mechanic when the characters were together. And this did of course break the splitting. That was expected, a quick fix, and now it works. Both turning and splitting. And that was all for the first day. Second day, I started working on the chaser element. We decided on the spacebar as a chaser. I implemented it first with some temporary art, a laser beam I made for my game Dextrum. Check it out on the Steam page, linked in the description, and add it to your wishlist. After getting the chaser mechanic sort of working, I switched out the temp art to the real one that my artist had made. And I also brought in some of the other art my artist made the day before. Time to start implementing the obstacles. At this point, we realized that we need to make the gameplay area a tall aspect ratio so there is time for the player to see the obstacles early enough to react. So I placed some temp obstacles on the sides and shrunk everything. Then I continued to work on the obstacles and implemented the 4 different types we had thought of at the start when discussing the game idea. This time with some new nice looking art. Now the game was kind of feature complete. But after some playtesting, I realized that the simple bounding box collisions did not feel good enough or fair when playing. It often resulted in collisions when it should have not been a collision. But this was the end of the second day of the jam. Third day, I started working on better collisions. So I reused the technique I've used in earlier games, defining a collision area as a set of circles for each collidable object. This is both easy and fast to check collisions for. Setting up the collision circles was done manually by drawing circles over the graphics of the player and the obstacles in Figma. Here I got some help from my artist while I started to integrate it into the game. Then I manually entered all the position and size numbers from the Figma circles into the code. And now I had collision circles for all the collidable objects in the game. This resulted in much more precise collisions, which felt much more fair when playing. In the meantime, my artist added the UI to the game, filling out the empty area on the side of the play area. Then we started with sound effects and music. At this point, there was not much left time of the jam, so we did not have time to make our own sound effects and music. Instead, we looked through some sound and music libraries and found some good sound effects and music that fit quite well with the game. The last thing I added was a small heart animation when the characters joined together, to have some visual feedback showing that the characters get stronger when being together. That was our journey during this game jam, and this is our end result. If you want to try it out yourself, I have a link in the description to the itch.io page. Thanks for watching.